Okay, so we're going to begin by getting in touch with the body. If you have access to a chair, you can do this seated. If you don't, you can do it standing. Let's take a breath. And let's take another breath. This time, let's pretend we're breathing in through the soles of the feet all the way up to the top of the head. Here we go. While we're breathing out, we're exhaling all the way down through the soles of the feet. Let's do that one more time. If you're standing, go ahead and put your feet in a comfortable V shape, any position in which you are comfortably able to get your heels a little closer than your toes. And all you need to do is check in with your tailbone and allow it to softly tuck under just a bit. And what may happen is you'll discover that you are suddenly able to feel your feet in absolutely full contact with the floor. Feel the weight in your feet spreading all the way out to the outer margins of both. If you can't feel it like that, just go ahead and play around with the tailbone. Tuck and untuck until you feel just the right spot for your tailbone. What you'll also magically feel is when your knees shift slightly forward and become softly bent, that helps a lot too. So now whether you're seated or standing, let's go ahead and just feel the feet in full contact with the floor. And let's check in with the rest of the body too. I want you to go ahead and begin visualizing your head rather than this full heavy thing with lots of important thoughts and feelings as a half-empty balloon, a balloon that's lost a little bit of its helium. So rather than floating up into the sky forever, it's simply hovering. Wherever your head happens to be, it's hovering. It's just hanging there. And notice how, when your head is just sort of hanging there, the spine has a tendency to basically simply hang down from it. A lot like the string of a balloon. Go ahead and feel how easily your upper body can simply be in alignment. Almost suspended right over your lower body. And let's all just let our upper arms hang down from the shoulders. And if you're standing, all you need to do is lift the fingertips so that your palms and fingers are suddenly in a position as if they were resting on something firm and horizontal. And those of us that are sitting can just place them on the legs. If you're standing, they're probably in about the place they would be if you were sitting, and place them on your legs. Pretty much right in front of the hinge of your hip. And let's all simply feel the hands gently resting, either actually or intentionally. And now we're each going to go inside. We're going to take a real little shallow dive rather than a deep dive inside the inner landscape with our mind's eye, with our awareness. And we'll each pick a spot somewhere in the body, preferably anywhere from the belly button down. And in just a few moments, I'm going to call the bell. That's a fancy way of saying I'm going to ring it. And your whole job until I call you back with another bell is simply to look at mentally this particular spot of your choice. Again, simply with your mind's eye or your awareness. Notice anything that happens to be going on in this spot. Without judgment, if possible. And in the present moment. And let us begin. Going to bring your awareness back to the room. And if your eyes have been closed, now will be a good time to open them. And I think I'm going to do part of the practice seated and part of it standing today. So, since I'm sitting, I'm just going to go ahead and begin by sitting. So when you're sitting, the sit bones are pretty much the feet of your seat. You know how I always say, feel your feet touching the ground. So when you're sitting, I want you to really feel your sit bones touching the chair. And I don't have my pelvis model with me today, but if I did, I would be able to show you that the sit bones are actually kind of curved. They're shaped like this. They're curvy. Okay. This is a little sideways so you can see what I'm talking about. And you know how when you're sitting on an exercise ball, you almost can't help but roll a little forward and back or shift a little side to side. It's harder not to shift than it is to just let your body naturally move. So I want you to imagine for just a moment that you are on an exercise ball. Your sit bones are touching the top of that exercise ball. And now just let yourself ever so gently roll forward and roll back. I'm going to put one hand on the front of my dantian and one hand on the back. And rolling forward, rolling back. And perhaps come along with me and do this too. I want you to feel the expansion in the front of your torso, or at least in your lower belly in front of the dantian, when you ever so slightly shift forward in your chair. Like that. And feel the contraction when you shift back. Let's do that a couple more times. Now check in with the skin under your hand in the back, and I want you to see if the curve of your back feels a little curvier when you gently shift forward. And a little flatter when you gently shift back. Let's do that a couple more times. Feel what's going on underneath both your hands. Nice. Let's do one more like this. Good. Now what I'd like you to do is let yourself simply shift backwards and put your hands down here. And then let yourself shift ever so slightly and easily forward and let the hands rise until you're done shifting. Turn around and keep flowing back. So this is rocking motion in the chair. So easy. And now that you've felt that expansion and contraction underneath your hands, when we were doing it a few moments ago with our hands on our bellies and the small of our back, I want you to check back in with that and feel the expansion in the front and the contraction. And I'm just going to suggest to you that the reason why the hands are rising and falling is because of that expansion and contraction. Energetically, what's happening is the dantian is expanding and that part of your body is getting bigger and contracting, expanding, and contracting. Now they say that people's energy bodies are bigger than their actual bodies. But the hands are just kind of getting out of its way and then being drawn back to it. And I love doing rocking motion in the chair, especially with brand new students, because a lot of people experience rocking motion as a little challenging or at least slightly complicated when they're standing, especially when they're new to the practice. But it just makes so much sense. It's so easy when you're seated. Let's do one more. And to end it, we're just going to let the hands float back to rest. Just feel the body resting for a moment in the chair. Now I'm going to do that same exact move standing, and I'm going to do it slightly sideways to you so you can see a little bit of my front and a little bit of my back. Here we are resting. Tailbone lightly tucked so that the knees suddenly become slightly soft. And I can really feel the weight in my feet spreading all the way out to the outer margins of both feet. My hands are resting on that invisible pocket of energy about the height of my thighs if I were seated. And since I am working with you on video today, I'm going to mirror you. So we want to step out with the left leg. Of course, we always use the effort of no effort in Tai Chi Chih. So the easiest way to let that left leg move out to the side is just to shift slightly away from it, and it will almost get out there by itself. And then we're going to straighten out both of the toes. And all we're going to do now is let the weight all the way to the back of the body. That's as easy as lengthening the knees and putting the hands back there. And now we're going to let it drift all the way to the front of the body and all the way to the back. Nice. And although this movement is called rocking motion, and indeed I've had the experience that if I do it long enough, I do begin to feel as if I'm sitting in a rocking chair, even though I'm really not doing a lot. Especially if you're new to the practice, just think of it as shifting. Shifting. So smoothly and easily. Shifting. Shifting. I also like to think it's almost like you're sitting in a glider on the front porch. You know how you can just be sitting in a glider and doing nothing, and it will almost start to shift forward and back by itself. It's almost like the breeze will move it. Now you may also see me rising a little bit here, but that's actually part of the weight shift. There. There. In order for that to happen, all you do is shift all the way to the front of the feet and lengthen the knees. And shift all the way to the back of the feet and lengthen the knees. It causes the body to rise slightly. But it's really just a way to complete the weight shift completely. I'm going to turn to face you. Let's do 2 more. And on the last one, we're just going to head back the direction we came. And feel the body resting. Just take a moment to feel the sensations of the body when it's not doing much on the outside. How often in life do you do that, right? Let's do bird flaps its wings. So all we're going to do is place the hands close together. It's almost like you're praying, only with a little airspace between them, and then you just drop them down here. So they're very easily resting almost in front of your, probably about halfway between your groin and your belly button. And all we're going to do is shift forward and drop down, and that will cause the heels to leave the ground by themselves. Okay? So here we go. Causes the knees to naturally expand too, without any effort. Now we're going to draw a circle in the air. It's almost like the dantian is getting bigger as you drop down, and the little bird wings, teeny weeny little sparrow wings, are just getting out of its way. Let's do that again. And notice where the little tips of your wings land when they're done flipping out there. Because that's going to be the beginning and the end of your single circle. You see it? Yeah. Let's do that again. Circle. And simply flow back down to rest. Now, we have a whole bunch of movements at the beginning of the practice in which one leg is much further out than the other. So I'm going to blend a bunch of those movements together. I think I'll do one side standing and the other side seated. That way we'll save some time too. I'm going to give you all a little bit of a feel for the entire practice here, both seated and standing. And since I'm facing you, I'm going to mirror you. So how the heck are we going to get that left foot really out there without any effort? It's not hard. So here we go. We're going to actually let the tailbone tuck a little bit more, and that's going to cause you to naturally sink. And then we're going to shift all the weight you possibly can away from the leg you want to extend. In this case, it's going to be your right leg you're sinking into. And when your left leg is totally empty, you're just going to extend the knee. And the heel is just going to drop down wherever it wants to go. Okay? Now imagine you have a big, almost circular platter out in front of about your heart. You're going to put your hands on the back of it as if there's a little ball of energy underneath each hand, and the balls are on the plate. So as we flow forward, and let all the weight from this full rear leg flow into the front leg, fill it up, empty this, and then reverse, the hands are going to flow out over the leg that's sticking out there. In this case, it's the left leg. So here we go. We're going to do 3 around the platters before we add a variation here. Here's 1. Good. Good. 3. Good. Now add a variation right here. It's as if you suddenly have a ball between your hands. And then it's gone. This is called a round applied variation. Now just turn your hands over. We're going to pull in some energy. This is called pulling in the energy. Nice. Feeling the body resting. Let's do the movement from the chair. This time we're going to place the right leg out there. And normally when we're doing these forward-backward movements, we do 9 with one foot out and 9 with the other foot out. But I just blended 3 very similar movements together and I did 9. So let's go ahead and just place the right foot out slightly. It's almost like a metaphor when you're seated. So you sort of remember where your hands go. And also so you remember when you stand up which foot is going to be out there. And all you do is bring your hands up to the back of the platter. Let's do around the platter, 3 of them, and 3 variations, and then 3 pulling in the energies on this side. Here we go. Just feel your dantian expanding slightly and contracting. Feel yourself ever so slightly rolling or shifting forward and then back. One more. Now here comes the variation. One more. Turn the hands over. Let's pull in the energy. One more. And then flow back to rest. Feel the body resting, no matter whether you're seated or standing. Take a moment. Let's blend 3 more moves together. I'll do one side seated and the other side standing. Okay, so this time I'm going to place what would look like your left leg out there slightly. I'm going to do daughter on the mountaintop, daughter in the valley, and bass drum. Just turn the palms over. And as you let yourself shift gently forward and you feel your dantian expanding, the hands are going to get out of its way. And as you shift or drift backwards slightly, the hands are going to get pulled back down. Almost as if they want to clap, but then you miss each other at the top. Now follow me. Here comes a transition into daughter in the valley. Roll forward and the hands rise. Drifting backward and the hands fall. Nice. Now follow me. Here comes a transition. We're going to do bass drum. Rolling, drifting forward, the hands move out. Contracting, the hands move back. You can almost see my fingertips tracing the outer rim of a bass drum that's been strapped to my shoulders here. And just flow back to rest. Feel your body resting for just a moment. Let's do the other side standing. You had your left leg out first. So let's place your right leg out. Here we go. We're going to let that tailbone tuck a little bit and makes you feel like you're sinking. Let all of your weight shift away from the leg you want to extend, and then just extend the empty knee. Nice. Then just turn the palms over. Same movement as when you're seated, only a little bigger. That's all. That's the only difference. There's more space in front of your body when you're standing up, right? And you can see now how the hands are rising as if you're going to clap, but then they just miss each other. Now follow me. Here comes a transition. We're going to do Daughter in the Valley now. 3 of them. Follow me, follow me. Here comes bass drum. So easy. This really is the effort of no effort, right? Mindfulness in motion. And just flow back down to the soles of the feet. Feel the body resting. Nice. Let's do carry the ball to the side. It's our first side-to-side movement, but the movement principles are exactly the same as the forward-backward movements. We're going to go as softly and smoothly as we can, as circularly or continuously as we can. Okay. So here we go. We're just going to be moving in this plane rather than this one. All right. Let your tailbone tuck a little more. It's going to cause you to feel as if you're sinking down. Let all the weight shift into this leg, into your right leg. Let the whole upper body rotate slightly towards the right as well. So how you're going to know that happened is your belly button is going to be suddenly facing off the same direction as your right toes. And your shoulders will kind of pivot a little bit. So notice how your right shoulder is back a little bit now. So just lift that hand like you're going to wave and just cover it with your other hand. And your left leg probably feels really empty. So just let the heel almost slide away to the side. Heel first. That way you won't overstep. The foot won't go farther than you can comfortably let it go. And now we're just going to shift that direction and back. And we're letting the weight shift carry the hands along, carry the ball to the side. On the last one, we're going to wait till all the weight's in your left leg, and then we're just going to stand up on it and rest a moment. A little mindful moment in the middle here. We're going to do another 2 sets just like that. Sink and shift. Rotate the upper body slightly. Place the hands, the heel, and glide. Nice. Move up. Slow down. Let's do it again. Nice. I'm going to go back the other way from my chair. So let me just turn it forwards here. The side-to-side motion in the chair is just as easy as the forward-back motion. Again, remember, when you're sitting on an exercise ball, you almost can't help but sort of shimmy around. It's harder not to shimmy around than it is to just let it flow. Go with the flow, okay? So all we're going to do now is let the upper body basically rotate slightly to your left, okay? Go ahead and do that. Good. Did you notice how your belly button is suddenly sort of pointing a little bit to the left? And did you notice how your left shoulder suddenly went back a little bit? That's perfect. So just put the hand up as if you're going to wave and cover it with the other hand up. Now you've got a ball about the same size as you had during around the platter variation. And as you turn the other way, it's almost like your belly button is an eye, and now it's going to turn that way. It's going to pull the hands along for the ride. Here we go. Now let your belly button eye turn back towards your left. Towards your right. Yeah. And on the third one, it's going to rest. Feel your sit bones touching the chair for a moment, and let's do it again. So just like in the forward-backward movements, the movement pattern is really the same. It's just a little smaller than the standing practice. One more time. If you had a little LED flashlight magically inserted into your belly button right now, it would probably be sort of shining an arc from side to side of the room. Feel the body resting. Nice. Now let's do push-pull. It's one of the forward-backward movements again. I think I'm going to do 9 whole repetitions. The first half seated and the second half standing. So go ahead and place your left foot out there slightly. And the hands are going to come up to the shoulders. Okay. And notice how my palms are facing you. It's like I'm going to play patty cake with you a little bit. Here we go. We're just going to let the body roll ever so slightly, shift ever so slightly forward. And shift ever so slightly back. And as you move forward, the hands move forward. And as you move back, the hands move back. Nice. And just like all the moves that are so very circular, this is circular too. It's just more like an ellipse than a full-blown circle. The hands don't stop. They just change directions. Right? I believe this is number 9. We're going to call it 9. So at the end, we're just going to flow back down to rest. Feel the body resting. Do the second half while standing. Here we go. I'll show you from the side. So here we are, simply resting while standing. And we want to place the right foot out there now. So we're going to let the tailbone tuck slightly. We're going to let all the weight shift as far away from the right leg as you can, so that the right leg can empty completely and therefore extend without effort. And the hands are going to come up to the shoulders. And here we go. If you're very body conscious, you will notice that your dantian is very much expanding here and contracting. If you think of the pelvis as a bowl, and in fact it really is bowl-shaped, see if you notice that here it tips forward. If it had water in it, it would spill it out. And here it tips back up. The upper body is just sort of riding forward and back like a column on top of your pelvis. And let's do one more. And rest. Nice. Let's do some of the taffy movements. So we have a whole section of the practice that uses the same movement pattern based on something called pulling taffy. So I'm going to show you how to do it standing, and then we might do a few seated too. In fact, you know what? You can just let your hands hang. And you already know how to do this side-to-side weight shift because you already did carry the ball to the side so beautifully. So just feel your body resting. And all we're going to do is let the tailbone tuck slightly. That's going to cause you to feel like you're sinking down. Let all of your weight shift into the right leg, and then you're going to rotate the upper body to the right a little bit as well. And the way you're going to know that that happened is your belly button is going to be suddenly shining out there, if you had a flashlight in it, right over your right toes. And you're going to notice that your left shoulder came forward now. So that's sending a signal down the arm to just go like this. It's almost like you're holding a tray of cookies right about at belly height. Nice and horizontal. Now your left leg is probably feeling very, very empty. So just let your left heel just almost glide away from the body. Heel first, and that way you won't place the leg farther out than you can comfortably reach it. And now we're going to let the body shift to that direction. It's going to cause the arm to rotate here slightly, almost like you're opening a door. If these were hinges, it's like you're opening the door. Then when all of your weight is in this full bent left leg, and your other is now nice and long, we're just going to stand up on this guy. Good. Let's go back the same way, just one hand. You're going to know which hand goes across the belly because it's going to be attached to the shoulder that's out in front. So here we go. Nice. Let's do that again, just one hand, so you get the hang of this, how integrated and holistic and whole body this movement is. And back again. Now I'm going to do one more set with the second hand in its proper place. So here we go. You're going to know where it goes because you already know which hand goes on the bottom. The other one just slides up on top. Yeah, that's how we're going to pull the taffy. It's like you're making a little bit of a sandwich out of your forearms here. All right? Empty heel glides out there. And the weight shift is what causes you to pull that energy between the hands. We call it pulling taffy. Let's do one more set like that. Nice. Good. Feel your body resting for just a moment. Let's do anchor taffy. Standing, a few sets standing, and then I'll do one seated too. Now, anchor taffy is the first variation of pulling taffy, and there's a forward and a back aspect of it too. So now instead of the empty leg moving out to the side, it moves forward, and since your belly is rotated slightly, so is that front toe. So we're just going to glide forward and come right back. We're not going to let that rear heel leave the ground this time. It's going to stay anchored down. Now we're going to pull taffy to the side though. Now let's pull taffy going forward. It's almost like the slowest, sweetest, easiest cha-cha, right? We go forward, back, and side, side. Now we're going to pull Taffy to the side. So I'm going to do it seated for you. It's just the same, only it's slightly smaller movement. So here we go. We're just going to go slightly forward. Nice. And now we're going to go to the side and back to center, where we rest. Good. Slightly forward. And to the side. Nice. Good. All right, I'm going to skip ahead of wrist circles tappy. I'm going to do perpetual motion tappy. I'm going to do a few in the chair, and then I'm going to do a few standing one-handed and then two-handed, okay? So, as its name suggests, perpetual motion is exactly the same as pulling taffy, only it doesn't stop. It's perpetual. So let's do a couple with one hand, okay, in the chair. Here we go. As we turn to the side, the shoulder that's out in front sends the hand across the belly. But as we turn to the other side, the other hand flows across the belly. You can just let this hand hang down here. Nice. One more set here. And we're going to flow back west. I'm going to stand. So essentially, pulling taffy, perpetual motion taffy, is kind of like you're doing this, which everybody knows how to do because we all did this at least when we were kids. Right? This is actually a very well-known Qigong movement that massages your kidneys, right? So here's how we're going to do the same exact movement we just did in the chair, standing, one hand at a time. In fact, you can just let your arms hang. You're going to sink down and shift to your right and then rotate to your right. Therefore, your left shoulder is the one that came out in front, and that's the hand that crosses the belly. And as you shift that direction, look how your right shoulder is suddenly coming out in front. And now your left. Yes. So the only other really, pretty noticeable distinction between this movement and regular pulling taffy is you're going to rotate the body ever so slightly farther in each direction, because that's going to peel the trailing heel off the ground. Trailing heel actually levitates for a moment, and then just put it right back down again. Nice. Let's do one more here. Now we're going to do it with two hands. If you get confused, you have two options. You can get upset about that, and that probably won't help. Or you can get very relaxed about it, and either the movement will suddenly get very smooth, and any troubles will just resolve themselves, or you won't care, and either way you'll enjoy the ride, okay? So if you get confused, just stay chill, all right? Here we go. This movement actually is very easy. You start by pulling taffy, and in the middle the hands just switch. That's all. But if you can get yourself started, it's an almost guarantee that you can do this move. The getting started part is the hardest part. But you all know exactly which hand goes across the belly first, right? It's always the shoulder out in front. Now it's your right shoulder. Now it's your left. Good. I'm going to do one more set. And feel the body resting. Oh, nice. Now we're going to do wrist circles on back track. So wrist circles is sort of like a combination of bird flaps its wings and pulling tappy. How'd that gonna work? So it's very easy. Let's just do the wrist circles part first. All we're going to do is let the weight shift all the way to the back of the body. And when that happens, the hands are just going to drop. And then we're going to let the weight shift all the way to the front of the body. And when that happens, and you lengthen the knees, the body feels like it's both leaning slightly forward and rising up. And the fingertips come slightly forward and up. Good. Let's just do a bunch of wrist circles here. I want you to see if you feel as if you're tracing a little circle in the air. Primarily with the first two fingers of each hand. Yeah. If someone were holding two bowling balls out on either side of your body, you'd be tracing like a little halo around the top of the bowling ball. Do you see that or feel it? Let's do one more like this. All right, now this time when you drop down, the fingertips start to rise, but then you're just going to put the taffy together and then you're going to pull it to the side. So easy. Let's do it again, going back, only now we're going to do it the traditional way. So it's going to be 2 wrist circles, 2. And then when you begin to do the third one, you're just going to put the taffy together and pull it to the side. Let's do that again. Once, circle twice. It's really like just a suggestion of a third circle before you pull the taffy. We sometimes say it's 2.5 circles. And feel your body resting for just a moment. Let's do that same movement in the chair. It's so easy. So easy. Just let your body ever so slightly shift or roll backwards and the fingers just drop. And then as you shift or roll forwards, the fingers come forward. And on the third one, you put the taffy together and pull it to the side. Let's do it again. And rest. Feel your body resting. Let's skip ahead. I'm doing things all out of order today. Let's do light at the top of the head, light at the temple. It's got that same up and downness to it that we just learned in wrist circles tapping. And we'll do the first half seated, the second half standing. Let's scoop up a little bit of chi and bring it all the way up to the top of your head. Literally the top of your head. So it's like your hands are in the same position they were for a bird flaps its wings, only they're up here. And you're just going to let your body shift or drift slightly backwards. You'll feel your dantian contract a bit. And as you move forward and the dantian expands, it causes the hands to sort of windshield wiper out. We're going to do it 2 more times. Now with your body in neutral, you're going to pull your energy up and out of the crown of your head and just kind of mix it with the cosmic soup up there for about 6 seconds. And then hold for an equal length of time. And here we go. We're going to drift or shift back, forward. Circle all the way around and fold the energy in on yourself and rest. second half standing. And we call this movement light at the top of the head, light at the temples. We just did the top of the head, so let's do the temples. We start from the same position we rest in. We're just going to sink down and bring a little energy up to the temples. Good. Then all we're doing is shifting to the back of the feet, just like we did in wrist circle scappy, and then to the front. That's it. Good. Now mix forward. Great way to distract the monkey in your mind for about 6 seconds. And then hold. Perhaps you'll notice him quieting down and then drift or shift back and forward. On the third one, the hands are going to circle and you're going to fold the energy in on yourself and then rest. And now we're going to do joyous breath, which is really like a complementary movement to light at the top of the head, light at the temple. It's both energizing, but also very grounding. So this is one of only 2 times in the Tai Chi Chih practice that we use a very clearly prescribed breathing technique. It's as if you had a pair of glasses on, you wanted to clean them, you breathe on them first before you wipe them, but your lips are closed, and you make kind of a cave out of your mouth. So it's almost as if you're going to hear that same sound, but in the back of your throat. It's almost the same sound you would hear if you held a shell up to your ear. So here we go. We're going to let the left leg almost move out by itself to the side. Same way we did for rocking motion. And we're going to shift down with that special breath I just told you about. And we're going to shift to the front of the legs, feet, and let the knees lengthen as the hands come up to the shoulders. And now we're going to press down in 4 equal sections as we breathe out. Okay, let's do it again. Good. I'm going to do this last one seated. Good. And rest. Just feel your body resting. Good. Let's do passing clouds. And then we'll do working the pulley and 6 healing sounds. And we will have done the whole practice, actually. I'm going to do passing clouds standing, though. I just like it so much standing. I don't feel like doing it in the chair today. So, here we are, just feeling the feet touching the ground. This is one of the only moves that begins with a weight shift to your left, of all things. It's just, unique in that way. Let the tailbone tuck a little bit more. You're going to feel yourself sinking. Let your weight shift all the way to your left leg. Let your upper body rotate a little bit to the left. Good. And then just put the left hand up there. If there was a wall over there, it'd be like I was high-fiving it. Right? Now, your right leg probably feels very, very empty. So just let the heel glide away to the side to wherever it wants to land comfortably. And we're going to shift that direction. It's going to pull this hand. Just copy me, follow me. Now, as we begin to shift back again, it's going to pull the right hand into the movement. Yes. So look at that. Whenever one hand is up, the other is down. It's almost like you're dredging your fingers through something thick down there, like chocolate syrup, and then you get to lick them on the way back. That's the way I like to look at it. But the feet stay down as you shift from side to side here. You may feel your right foot emptying right now, but it stays down. And your left foot empties a bit, but it stays down. what's really actually carrying the hands for you is the weight shifting over to your right, and then the upper body rotating a bit on the end of the weight shift. That's where the top hand falls and the bottom hand rises. And the top hand falls and the bottom hand rises on the ends. The transition. Let's do one more. And rest. And the body resting. And I love doing working the pulley right after passing clouds, because to my way of thinking, they're very, very similar movements, only passing clouds is this way, working the pulley is this way. But they both have that perpetual motionness going on with the hands. And actually with the whole body. And, as one hand is on the top usually while the other's on the bottom, and then they switch. Okay. So anyway, here's how we're going to do it. And I'm going to mirror you. Let's all let the tailbone tuck a little bit more. It's going to cause you to feel like you're sinking down. We're going to let all the weight shift into your right leg. And once the left leg gets really, really empty, just extend the empty knee. And the left hand is going to go up to the shoulder. The right hand's going to turn over. So you probably already figured out we're going to let all the weight flow from this full bent rear leg into the front leg. And this hand is going to come along with. But here's the thing. We're going to let the belly button, we're going to let the upper body rotate a little bit. So pretend your belly button is an eye again. All right? And the eye wants to follow this elbow. Or you could think of it as the eye is going to turn away from this hand. And it's going to cause all kinds of really easy, fun, magical things to happen with the arms. You ready? Here we go. Nice. But see if you notice how one hand is always on the top while the other one is on the bottom, and then they just switch. Nice. Pretend you have that LED flashlight inserted into your belly button again, and I want you to notice whether or not, if the lights were off and the flashlight were on, if you would be shining sort of an arc from side to side in the room there. Because the belly is really turning here. That's what enables this retreating elbow to get all the way behind your body without any effort. This is going to be our last one. I think it's 9. And flow back to rest. Let's do the other side from the chair. It's so easy. So we had your left leg out there first. So you can go ahead and put your right foot out there. And that will remind you which hand goes up. And the other hand just turns over. Okay. So again, let your belly button either turn away from the hand that's moving forward or follow the elbow that's moving behind, whatever works for you. And that will enable your arms to move really, really freely. Okay, so here we go. And many people say this reminds them of swimming. And I can see why that would be the case for a lot of people, because I think all of us innately know how to do some version of the Australian crawl. But this is so much easier than swimming. Think about it, when you're swimming, you're trying not to drown. So you have to sort of turn your hands into little swords and slice through the water. Here you're just flowing through the air, almost as if it's slightly thick. The fingers naturally separate and soften and flow out from behind the heel of the hand a little bit. Let's do one more here. And we're just going to flow back down to rest. Feel your body resting. And let's do 6 healing sounds. Gosh, I could talk for a whole hour about 6 healing sounds. There's so much really interesting background to it and really good science. Lots of ancient cultures would agree that the 6 healing sounds are really a thing. I find that 6 healing sounds are easier to do standing than seated because I get my lefts and rights confused when I'm seated. So I'm just going to do it standing. I'm going to mirror you, okay? And we usually do 3 sets of it before we do perpetual sweeping side-to-side movements. So that's what I'm going to do. And begin with the left leg and the left foot. Here's the first sound, ho. Come back and we're going to go forward again with the sound hoo. We're going to sweep to the side with the sound su. Su. Good. And now the other hand and foot come forward. Sh. She is the next sound. She. And we're going back again with a tree. We do another set in the chair. We're not actually saying the sounds, we're kind of almost breathing them. We'll do one more set. Here come the perpetual sweeping trees. Last one. And rest. I love the 6 healing sounds. I feel so energized when I do them. And the coolest thing about them is it's almost a culmination of all the movements put into one. Okay? Now we're just going to do cosmic consciousness. It's the very last movement. It's not really a movement, it's a pose. We start from the rest position. You feel your feet in full contact with the floor, making sure that your weight is evenly distributed among the 2 feet. Now, without shifting your weight, if possible, you're just going to lift the left heel up and rotate it slightly and lay it down on the right ankle. So your weight is still evenly divided amongst the whole of your right foot and the ball of your left, and let the arms rise up. Now I know what you're thinking. This feels like the effort of a little bit of effort here with the arms, not the effort of no effort. So just imagine you're resting your forearms on an invisible sort of high countertop here, or you can imagine they're just suspended above, and we're just going to hang out here for a few moments. This is the Tai Chi Chih version of the Qigong standing like a tree pose. In fact, Tai Chi Chih is very closely related to Qigong, more so than any other Tai Chi practice practically, I believe. And then flow back to rest. Now let's just take a few more moments to dive inside. We're not even going to take a deep dive. We're just going to take a shallow dive. While in the rest position, no matter whether you're seated or standing. Let's begin by feeling the feet in full contact with the floor, or the sit bones in full contact with the chair. They're really the feet of your seat. And pick a spot somewhere inside the body, preferably anywhere south of the belly button, to focus your full attention on. I'm going to call the bell once again. And your whole job until I call you back is simply let your mind's eye, your awareness, just dwell on this spot of your choice. And if your mind wanders, you know what? That just means you're a person. Congratulations. That's what the human mind does, right? But you can thank it for sharing, just invite it back to the spot that you'd prefer it pay attention to. So let's begin. Your attention come back to the room if it has left. And if your eyes have been closed, go ahead and open them up. And it's been my pleasure to teach you again today. Again, I'm Jessica Lewis. The name of my company is Sculpt Your Life. You can find us very easily if you go out on Google. And thank you so much for participating in my blended standing and seated, sort of abbreviated Tai Chi Chih practice today.